Hello and welcome to the Dead Unicorn, the tabletop role-playing game club. My name is Corey, and today we're not going to be talking about a tabletop role-playing game. We're going to be talking about a video game based on a tabletop role-playing game. But there's been many of those. There's Dungeons and Dragons have gone way back with making them. But there have been others, like little companies that gained a lot of clout making video games, like Vampire the Masquerade with Bloodlines and Shadowrun, and most recently Cyberpunk, because Cyberpunk was always a tiny niche game, and then a video game company took it and made it freaking amazing. This is Shadowveil, the Legend of the Five Rings video game from Palindrome Interactive and Amplifier Studios. Is it gonna give Legend of the Five Rings a great video game experience? Well, first off, I'd like to say that I didn't write a big script for this. I'm doing this off the cuff. Can you tell? Do you see how much I am just talking right into a microphone right at you? Well, that's because I had just finished this game. It took me about a week to finish it, but I think you can take 2 full days. If you just concentrate it and push right through, you can beat this game. So what is Shadowveil? Well, it's Legend of the Five Rings, but it's not the card game. And it's not the role-playing game. You're not going to get probably what most fans want, which is a bit of a shame. But what we are getting is an Autobattler. It is a resource management kind of system where you build up your units and then let them go and they go fight. Kind of like if you were playing Civilization and you just let your units go to a battle and then you fight that battle. It's not like a tactical battle simulator where you tell each unit what to do and how to do it. There's a little bit of that, but for the most part, you just click go and your guys go with what they have, their powers and abilities that you've already given them, and they just fight it out right there. Personally, I would like a little something more in-depth strategically. I don't know if auto battlers are really my thing, but I did have a lot of fun with this game, mostly with the managing of my units and my party. There's a little bit of XCOM here where you get your units and they're from different families, and you kind of work with them, and you kind of, they grow with you as you go through these levels. Come up with your own stories for them and get attached. But there is a main story here. There are 2 ways you can go. You can use Hidoushi, a headstrong woman with a big warhammer, or Hidesakune, who is a bit of a frail man, but a brilliant tactician, a person who's trying to prove himself in ways other than just brute force. Both of these characters have big misgivings about who they are and who they're trying to grow to become. They are the children of the clan champion Hida Kasada, and they have a lot to, look up to. So how does this game look? So first off, during the story, there are only a few portraits. They don't emote at all. They don't change their expression depending on what they say. Everything is given gravity by the voice acting. And the voice acting is really strong. There are some great veteran voice actors that are doing the voices for these characters. Some of the pronunciations are a little off, but that's okay. Japanese is a hard language sometimes. Some of the language, though, some of how it's presented is a little more, loose than I would like. When I think of Legend of the Five Rings, I think of, people acting really professional and really serious all the time. In the middle of one part of the gameplay, somebody said cool, and I was like, oh, okay, that's doesn't seem samurai-like. Maybe the Crab Clan like to shred on the goblins in Shadowlands on their skateboards. You can't come up here unless you can skate. So the game itself, when you're in the battle, it looks a little like Diablo 2 or 3. It's isometric, and it's a little stuttery because they're animating not on every frame. They're animating on I think probably every 4 frames here. So let's talk about the gameplay when you get into battle. The first thing you're going to do is deploy, where you're going to put out each character and where they're going to be, which is really important. There are different terrains, there are brambles that you can get caught up in. There's mud that can slow you down. Unfortunately, there is no elevation in this. Everything is on one solid piece of land. You don't go up or down. There are benefit squares too. There are elemental spirits denoted on the landscape by the little elemental symbols, and you can also go elemental overload. So there are things to watch out for. There are also traps on the ground. So it's just stuff to think about where your players are going to be and how the enemy is going to move towards your players. The areas you fight in themselves, they can get pretty weird because you're always fighting in the Shadowlands, the evil lands beyond Rokugan, filled with demons. They look pretty nice, but there's only a few of them and they repeat often. Speaking of stuff that repeat, the people you fight, it's the same couple people all the time. You're either fighting the same groups of goblins, the same spirits, the same Lost Samurai or same Madoshi. And of course, there are the same 3 bosses that you fight over and over again. You start out at your home base, and at home base, you can level up your characters, you can do the tech trees, and you can figure out what quests you're going to go on. Then you go beyond the wall, and there are a couple different ways you can go. You can plot out using scouts to see which benefits you want to go after. There are story beats within there. At the end of each area, there's the same boss you're going to fight every time. And I gotta say that the bosses, even the main big Oni, just doesn't strike fear into my heart very much. But there are secrets to find, there are cool things in this game, and for the most part, I really enjoyed myself. Like I said, this isn't a game that I would probably buy if it wasn't Legend of the Five Rings, but now that I've tasted it, I think it's pretty fun. Do I think this is the game that's going to put Legend of the Five Rings on the map? No. It's a fun little diversion, and in fact, right now it's a little over $20. I think it should be a sub $20 game for real. It is a way, if you want to get your friends into Legend of the Five Rings, this is a perfect way to do it. And hopefully it just gets cheaper so you can just pick that game up and give it as a gift to your friends, and you only spend $30 and you can just start giving it out to your friends, and it'll grow the fandom that way. There are plenty of places to make DLC for this with other clans coming in, because this game only is about the Crab Clan. I know there is some lore part to the game, but it's just in a drop-down menu, kind of hidden. So you can read all of the lore. In one part, you do even fight alongside other clans, but only you can be the Crab Clan. So a DLC where it's the Scorpion or the Dragon that you can add to it, that would be fun. That would be great. Do I think they should make a separate game for each one of the clans that is an Autobattler? No. I think this works for the Crab Clan. And I'm glad that they made a game that focuses on the crab's strength. If they're going to make another game based on each one of the clans, I think it should play to their strengths. I think there should be a political game for the crane. I think there should be a dueling game, like an Iijitsu dueler for the dragon. I think that there should be a game that goes into the depths of spirits for the Phoenix, a ninja game, of course, for the Scorpion, a mass battle game for the Lion, and I guess Barbie's horse adventure for the Unicorn. We love you, Unicorn Clan. So those are basically my thoughts. If you are interested in Legend of the Five Rings, or if you're a fan of Legend of the Five Rings, you should pick it up and give it a try. I think it's I think you'll have a lot of great fun with it. For everybody else, there's the card games and the board games and the novels and the role-playing games. So get out there and roll some dice.